All right, it's time for our top 10 films of 2024. This is based off of the films that I went and saw in the theaters. So if you went and you saw something different and you disagree, feel free to make your own video. At number 10, that's right, Monkey Man. It was released during that period of time where we were still recovering from the Hollywood strikes previously. So we got this host of movies that were on hold previously. And this was one of those movies that came out in the midst of the Hollywood strike recovery period. That's what I'm going to label it, the Hollywood strike recovery period. But um, it didn't gross that much, of course. But the reason why it made my list because it was so nuanced to me. It had that classic Bruce Lee feel. Number nine, Bad Boys, Ride or Die. Reason why I included it on my list, and I feel compelled to include it on my list, is because it started the summer movie season. We had that terrible Fall Guy movie that everyone was banking on, with Ryan Gosling, and it underperformed. People weren't interested in it, and people didn't go to the theaters. So this proves Will Smith can still put butts in the seat. Many people were wondering if Will Smith could deliver after his, cancellation or quote unquote cancellation after the Oscar slap. But people showed up and showed out for Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. I was one of those people that showed up, showed out for him. And the movie was excellent. The action sequences were excellent. The story was great. So, yeah, Will Smith can still pull an audience regardless. And I think it reestablishes, or it should reestablish, who we let determine who's canceled. Number eight, Blink Twice. I thought it was pretty interesting. It was different. The story was strong. I feel like it gave a unique approach to an important subject matter that many people ignore, which is sex trafficking, right? But I do feel like it might have been too graphic for the commentary. That's a huge question that I had after. Maybe that's why a lot of people didn't go see it. If you look at the growth, it didn't gross that much. So is this possibly because it was too graphic? A movie about sex trafficking actually showing sex? Is that too much for audiences? Number seven, The Wild Robot. It's a moving story about family being wherever you make it. And I think that's such an important topic. We're in this holiday season right now, and many people don't get along with their family, so they depend on their friends and work relationships and all these other kind of relationships that they've built outside of their family. And I think this goes along with the message of the movie where um, you can build a family wherever you are. So I think it's great. I think um, one of the things that made it great was they put us in the midst of the action from the first scene. So we didn't have to get like a little pre-scene that had nothing to do with the film like a lot of these animated films do. We were right smack in the action. Smile 2, let's talk about it. It had a pretty strong run. I feel like it was a solid sequel, and sequels are so hard to make these days. We've seen it. We've seen many sequels fail. I think it was a nice change of pace for Naomi Scott. Um, I think it benefited from not focusing on the same set of characters. I think that if it had focused on, let's say, the guy that we did see appear um, in the beginning a little bit from the last movie, if it was just all about him, I think we would have lost audiences. I think them switching up the story, making it about music and um, an artist, and then her being tormented by this creature, I feel like that was just so nuanced. It was so different. Um, I do have questions about how they can land a plane. Do they intend to make this as long as Halloween or other franchises, or are they going to end this as a trilogy? Does the creature actually have a weakness, or does it make you think it does to lower your defenses so it can? Number five, Sonic 3. I think this franchise has benefited from consistency. It's been consistent from the first movie to the third movie, and most trilogies are not, but this franchise has proven to be. Superman, the Christopher Reeve story. This movie meant so much to me. I did not grow up watching Christopher Reeve, but after watching this, I was fully invested in his story, his family, and his film and his work. This film really put life in perspective. It was a balanced film. It showed the good and the bad, and I believe the producers and directors were very intentional about not just showing him in a good light, but showing him his flaws too. And his family approved of that. They wanted that. So that made for a better story. So as an audience, we got to experience the same balance between being joyful on the journey with him and then being sad at the tragedy. Wicked. So this is fairly new. Again, I'm not going to go through the growths, but this was such a good Broadway adaptation. Joker 2 really gave musicals a bad name. There was like this running line within the film about please stop singing. And that's how we all felt watching Joker 2. But once Wicked came out, that love for musicals came right back. Dune, part two. I gotta be honest, I really don't remember because this movie came out so long ago. I don't remember specifics about the film. It was so long ago. I feel like, um, but I certain things I do remember about it. I feel like it was a nice break from the terrible releases we were getting at the beginning of that year, the beginning of this year's Deadpool and Wolverine. I gotta give it to him. I love this film. It restored hope in the MCU. It was just a great theater experience. Fans were excited. Um, it gave me a similar feel um, with Avengers Infinity War. Um, just standing out, the line being across um, around the corner, and people having to get their early shot so they can get their ticket and make sure to get a seat. And like it felt like that. And that's my list. If you got your list, make your own list and feel free to comment under my comments and let me know what makes your top 10.